It was a momentous day for the people of Earth when they made first contact with an alien civilization. The humans had long dreamed of encountering intelligent life beyond their own planet, and now that dream was finally becoming a reality. The alien species, which the humans named the Xenos, were a technologically inferior race compared to the humans. They lacked the advanced space travel capabilities and weaponry that humanity had developed over centuries of scientific progress. Yet, despite their technological limitations, the Xenos possessed a rich cultural heritage and a deep spiritual connection to their homeworld. When the first group of human explorers landed on the Xenos planet, they were greeted with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The Xenos had heard legends of the powerful beings from the stars, but they had never imagined that these sky people would one day arrive on their doorstep. As the human and Xenos representatives began to communicate, a troubling truth emerged. The Xenos revealed that they were being mercilessly exploited and oppressed by a powerful galactic alliance of alien civilizations. This alliance, driven by greed and a thirst for domination, had subjugated the Xenos, forcing them to toil as slave laborers and providing little in return. The Xenos elders, their eyes filled with a deep sorrow, pleaded with the humans for aid. They spoke of the cruelty they endured, the loss of their freedom, and the constant fear of being punished or even killed by their oppressors. The humans, taken aback by the Xenos' plight, listened intently, their hearts filled with a growing sense of empathy and indignation. As the discussions continued, a small group of humans, driven by a sense of moral obligation and a desire to right the wrongs they had witnessed, began to formulate a plan. They knew that intervening in the affairs of this alien alliance would be a risky and potentially dangerous endeavor, but the thought of abandoning the Xenos to their cruel fate was simply unacceptable. These compassionate humans, led by a resolute young woman named Ava, began to quietly gather resources, recruits, and intel. They knew that they would need to tread carefully, as their own government might not look favorably upon their plans to defy the dominant alien alliance. Ava and her team understood that the stakes were high. Anchoring the powerful galactic forces could have severe consequences, both for the Xenos and for the humans themselves. But the thought of leaving the Xenos to their suffering was simply too much to bear. As they finalized their plans, the human team steeled their resolve. They were determined to do whatever it took to defend the Xenos, even if it meant risking their own lives and defying the wishes of their own people. The Xenos had placed their trust in the humans, and Ava and her companions were not about to let them down. With a sense of purpose and a deep commitment to their newfound allies, the human team prepared to embark on a perilous mission to rescue the Xenos from their oppressors. They knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they were unwavering in their determination to stand up for the weak and the downtrodden, no matter the cost. With their minds made up, the human team led by Ava began the arduous task of preparing for their risky intervention to rescue the oppressed Xenos. They knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but their determination to help the helpless aliens burned brighter than any fear they felt. The first order of business was to gather the necessary resources. Ava and her companions reached out to their contacts, both within the government and in the private sector, to secure the funding, equipment, and supplies they would need for their mission. It was a delicate dance, as they had to tread carefully to avoid drawing too much attention from the authorities. As the preparations intensified, the team also focused on recruiting skilled individuals who shared their vision of defending the Xenos. They scoured the ranks of the military, the scientific community, and even the underground resistance movements, seeking out those with the expertise and the courage to take on such a daunting task. One by one, the team began to take shape, with each member bringing unique skills and experiences to the table. There was the former Special Forces soldier, whose tactical know-how would be invaluable in the field. There was the brilliant engineer, whose expertise in advanced technology could mean the difference between success and failure. And there was the seasoned diplomat, whose political savvy would be crucial in navigating the treacherous waters of interstellar relations. Yet, as the team solidified, they faced growing skepticism and opposition from their own government. The authorities warned Ava and her companions that their plans to intervene in the affairs of the dominant alien alliance were reckless and could have dire consequences. "You have no idea what you're up against," the government official said, his brow furrowed in concern. "These are not people you want to cross. The risk to our own people is simply too great." But Ava and her team remained steadfast in their resolve. They had seen the suffering of the Xenos with their own eyes, and they could not turn their backs on them, even in the face of such daunting opposition. "We understand the risks," Ava replied, her voice calm and unwavering. "But we can't just sit back and watch as these innocent beings are exploited and oppressed. We have a moral obligation to help them, regardless of the consequences." As the tensions with the government escalated, the human team found themselves having to operate in the shadows, carefully orchestrating their preparations to avoid detection. They stockpiled weapons, secured transportation, and honed their strategies, all the while keeping a watchful eye on the ever-changing political landscape. The weight of their mission weighed heavily on the team, but their determination never wavered. They knew that the fate of the Xenos hung in the balance, and they were willing to put everything on the line to ensure their survival. With a growing sense of urgency, the team accelerated their preparations, driven by the knowledge that time was not on their side. The fate of the Xenos, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on their shoulders. The day had finally arrived. After months of meticulous planning and preparation, Ava and her team of dedicated humans were ready to launch their daring mission to rescue the oppressed Xenos from the clutches of their cruel alien overlords. The plan was bold and risky, but the team had left no stone unturned in their efforts to ensure its success. They had acquired state-of-the-art technology, including advanced weaponry and spacecraft that would give them a crucial edge in the upcoming confrontation. As the team gathered for their final briefing, the tension in the air was palpable. They knew that the stakes were high, and the consequences of failure could be catastrophic. But the thought of abandoning the Xenos to their suffering was simply unacceptable. "Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves," Ava said, her gaze sweeping across the faces of her companions. "We're fighting for the freedom and the very survival of the Xenos. They're counting on us, and we can't let them down." With a nod of determination, the team boarded their sleek, advanced spacecraft and set a course for the Xenos' home planet. As they approached the alien stronghold, their hearts raced with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. The initial phase of the operation went smoothly, with the team's stealth capabilities allowing them to infiltrate the heavily guarded compound undetected. They swiftly made their way to the Xenos' holding cells, where they were greeted by the grateful and hopeful faces of the captive aliens. "You've come to save us," one of the Xenos exclaimed, his eyes shining with tears of joy. "That's right," Ava replied, her voice firm and reassuring. "We're here to get you out of this place and take you to a safe haven. But we need to move quickly before the enemy realizes what's happening." With a well-coordinated effort, the human team began the arduous task of liberating the Xenos from their shackles. They encountered fierce resistance from the alien guards, who were determined to protect their prized captives. The sound of blaster fire echoed through the corridors as the humans and the Xenos fought side by side, their determination fueling their every move. Ava and her team utilized their superior technology and combat skills to overwhelm the enemy forces, driving them back with relentless precision. As the rescue operation reached its climax, the humans and the Xenos found themselves forging an unlikely bond, united in their shared struggle for freedom. The Xenos were inspired by the humans' bravery and selflessness, and they fought with a renewed sense of purpose, their once timid spirits now emboldened by the presence of their saviors. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last of the Xenos were liberated, and the human team began the perilous journey to their makeshift safe haven. As they soared through the vastness of space, the Xenos expressed their deepest gratitude. their hearts filled with a newfound hope for the future. Ava and her companions, though weary from the ordeal, felt a sense of profound accomplishment. They had risked everything to defend the weak and the oppressed, and in doing so, they had not only saved the Xenos, but had also forged a bond that would have far-reaching consequences in the days to come. News of the humans' daring rescue operation to liberate the Xenos from their oppressors quickly spread throughout the galaxy, drawing the ire of the dominant alien alliance. The powerful forces that had been exploiting the Xenos were furious at the humans' interference. They saw the intervention as a direct challenge to their authority and a threat to their control over the subjugated alien species. Within days, the human team led by Ava found themselves at the center of a diplomatic and economic firestorm. The alien alliance launched a relentless campaign to condemn the humans' actions, painting them as reckless and irresponsible. "These humans have overstepped their bounds," one of the alliance's representatives declared in a scathing statement. "Their interference in our affairs has caused disruption and unrest, and they will be held accountable for their actions." The humans' own government, which had initially tried to dissuade them from their rescue mission, now found itself in a delicate position. Caught between the demands of the powerful alien alliance and the growing public support for the team's heroic exploits, the authorities struggled to navigate the complex political landscape. Ava and her companions, undeterred by the mounting pressure, remained steadfast in their commitment to the Xenos. They knew that abandoning their newfound allies would be a betrayal of the very principles they had fought to uphold. "We're not going to back down, no matter what they throw at us," Ava said, her voice laced with determination. "The Xenos are counting on us, and we're not going to let them down." The retaliatory measures taken by the alien alliance were swift and severe. Trade agreements were revoked, economic sanctions were imposed, and diplomatic channels were severed. The humans found themselves increasingly isolated, their access to resources and support dwindling with each passing day. Yet even as the walls closed in around them, the team refused to give up. They rallied the Xenos, sharing their technology and expertise to help the once oppressed aliens become more self-sufficient. Together, they began to establish a stronghold, a bastion of resistance against the overwhelming power of the dominant alien civilization. The conflict that ensued was a high-stakes game of diplomacy, strategy, and sheer determination. Ava and her team navigated the treacherous political landscape, forging alliances with other marginalized alien species who shared their desire for freedom and justice. As the tensions escalated, the Human-Xenos alliance found itself embroiled in a series of escalating confrontations, both on the battlefield and in the realm of interstellar politics. The stakes were higher than ever, and the team knew that the very future of the Xenos, and perhaps even their own species, hung in the balance. Despite the daunting challenges they faced, Ava and her companions remained resolute. They had come too far to turn back now, and the thought of abandoning the Xenos to their fate was simply unacceptable. As the Human-Xenos alliance continued to grow in strength and influence, the dominant alien civilization grew increasingly concerned. They recognized the threat posed by this unlikely partnership and began to mobilize their full might, determined to crush the upstart challenge to their authority. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order. The future of the Xenos, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now hung in the balance. Undeterred by the mounting pressure and hostility from the dominant alien alliance, Ava and her team redoubled their efforts to forge a strong alliance with the Xenos. They knew that the key to their long-term survival and the protection of their newfound allies lay in building a formidable partnership. The first step was to share their advanced technology and resources with the Xenos, helping the once oppressed aliens to become more self-sufficient and capable of defending themselves. The humans provided the Xenos with the means to improve their infrastructure, develop new forms of renewable energy, and even bolster their military capabilities. As the Xenos began to thrive under the guidance and support of their human allies, a sense of hope and determination spread throughout their communities. They were no longer the helpless victims of a cruel and exploitative system, but rather active participants in a struggle for their own freedom and sovereignty. The humans have given us the tools to build a better future, one of the Xenos elders said, his eyes shining with gratitude. We will stand by their side, no matter the cost. With the Xenos firmly on their side, Ava and her team set out to establish a secure stronghold, a base of operations from which they could launch their resistance against the dominant alien alliance. The location they chose was a remote, resource-rich planet that had long been overlooked by the galactic powers. Here, the Human-Xenos alliance began to flourish as the two civilizations worked in harmony to create a thriving, self-sustaining community. The Xenos shared their deep understanding of their homeworld's ecology, while the humans provided the technological know-how to harness its bounty. Together, they built a sprawling complex of habitats, farms, and industrial facilities, all powered by clean, renewable energy. The stronghold quickly became a beacon of hope for other marginalized alien species who sought refuge from the oppressive rule of the dominant alliance. As word of the Human-Xenos alliance spread, more and more aliens flocked to their doorstep, eager to join the fight for freedom and self-determination. Ava and her team welcomed them with open arms, recognizing the value of diversity and the strength that came from unity. The growing alliance began to pose a significant challenge to the dominant alien civilization, which grew increasingly concerned about the threat posed by this upstart coalition. They saw the Human-Xenos partnership as a dangerous seed of rebellion that threatened to undermine their centuries-old system of control. In response, the alliance launched a campaign of diplomatic and economic pressure, seeking to isolate the Human-Xenos stronghold and cut off its access to vital resources. But Ava and her team had anticipated such a move, and they had planned accordingly. Through a series of clandestine operations, the alliance established a network of covert supply routes and trade agreements with other marginalized alien civilizations. They also invested heavily in the development of advanced defensive systems, knowing that the eventual confrontation with the dominant alliance was inevitable. As the conflict escalated, the Human-Xenos alliance found itself navigating an increasingly complex political and military landscape. They were forced to employ sophisticated strategies and tactics to outmaneuver their formidable opponents, all the while safeguarding the well-being of their people and the integrity of their stronghold. The fate of the Xenos, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on the shoulders of Ava and her determined team. They knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but their resolve had never been stronger. The time had come. The powerful alien alliance, angered by the growing strength and influence of the Human-Xenos coalition, had mobilized its full might to crush the upstart resistance once and for all. Ava and her team, having anticipated this day, had spent years meticulously preparing their stronghold and their forces for the inevitable confrontation. They knew that the fate of the Xenos, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As the enemy armada approached the Human-Xenos stronghold, the air was thick with tension. The Xenos, once timid and oppressed, now stood alongside their human allies, their eyes burning with a fierce determination to defend their newfound freedom. Ava addressed the gathered forces, her voice calm and resolute. "Today we face our greatest challenge," she said, "but we are not alone. Together, we are stronger than any force that seeks to oppress us. We fight not just for ourselves, but for the right of all beings to live in peace and liberty." The humans and Xenos responded with a roar of solidarity, their weapons at the ready. When the enemy forces finally reached the stronghold, a titanic battle erupted. The skies above the planet were lit by the blinding flashes of energy weapons as the two sides engaged in a desperate struggle for supremacy. Ava and her team unleashed the full might of their advanced technology, employing a dazzling array of defensive systems and precise, devastating strikes. The Xenos, empowered by the humans' guidance and support, fought with a ferocity born of their hard-won freedom. The fighting was fierce and relentless, with neither side willing to back down. The dominant alien alliance hurled wave after wave of its most formidable warships and fighters, determined to overwhelm the Human-Xenos defenses. But Ava and her companions were not to be easily defeated. They had anticipated the enemy's tactics and had developed countermeasures to neutralize their technological and numerical advantages. Through a series of strategic maneuvers and well-timed strikes, the Human-Xenos alliance began to gain the upper hand. The enemy's forces were slowly but surely pushed back, their once unstoppable momentum grinding to a halt. As the battle raged on, the Xenos found themselves inspired by the humans' bravery and resilience. They fought with a newfound ferocity, their determination to protect their hard-won freedom fueling their every move. The tides of the battle began to turn, and the dominant alien alliance found itself on the defensive. Its commanders, sensing the impending defeat, desperately scrambled to regroup and mount a counterattack. But Ava and her team were relentless, pressing their advantage with every passing moment. The Human-Xenos alliance unleashed a devastating barrage of firepower, systematically dismantling the enemy's defenses. In the end, the dominant alien alliance was forced to retreat, its once mighty forces scattered and demoralized. The Human-Xenos alliance had emerged victorious, a testament to the power of unity, determination, and the unwavering will to defend the weak and the oppressed. As the dust settled, the Xenos looked upon their human allies with a newfound sense of awe and respect. The bond between the two civilizations had been forged in the crucible of battle, and it would forever shape the course of the galaxy. The future was now uncertain, but one thing was clear. The Human-Xenos alliance had proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with, and the balance of power in the galaxy had been irrevocably shifted. The victory of the Human-Xenos alliance over the dominant alien forces sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The once oppressed Xenos, now standing shoulder to shoulder with their human partners, had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with. For Ava and her team, the triumph was bittersweet. They had achieved their goal of defending the Xenos and securing their freedom, but they knew that the road ahead would not be an easy one. As the dust settled, the Human-Xenos alliance set about the task of rebuilding and strengthening their newfound partnership. They knew that the dominant alien civilization would not take their defeat lightly, and they had to be prepared for any retaliation or attempts to undermine their hard-won gains. Ava and her team worked tirelessly, sharing their knowledge and resources with the Xenos to help them become more self-sufficient and technologically advanced. The Xenos, in turn, shared their deep understanding of their homeworld's ecology and culture, helping the humans to better appreciate the richness and diversity of the galaxy. Together, they established a thriving, self-sustaining community on the remote planet that had served as their stronghold during the conflict. The Human-Xenos alliance became a beacon of hope for other marginalized alien civilizations who saw in them the possibility of a future free from oppression and domination. As the alliance grew in strength and influence, it began to reshape the political and social landscape of the galaxy. The once dominant alien civilization found itself forced to adapt, recognizing that the balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Ava and her team became revered figures, their names spoken with awe and respect by beings across the cosmos. They had proven that the values of compassion, courage, and a willingness to stand up for the weak could make a profound difference, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The legacy of the Human-Xenos alliance extended far beyond the immediate conflict. The Xenos, once seen as a weak and insignificant species, now stood tall, their voices heard and their rights respected. They forged strong cultural and economic ties with their human partners, creating a truly symbiotic relationship that benefited both civilizations. The impact of the alliance was felt not just in the political and military spheres, but also in the realm of science and technology. The Xenos' unique perspective and the humans' innovative spirit led to groundbreaking discoveries and advancements that would shape the future of the galaxy. As the years passed, the Human-Xenos alliance continued to grow and evolve, adapting to the ever-changing challenges of the galactic landscape. Ava and her team, though no longer the central figures they once were, remained steadfast in their commitment to the alliance, serving as mentors and advisors to the next generation of leaders. The story of the humans' decision to defend the Xenos against all odds became the stuff of legend, inspiring beings across the galaxy to stand up for what they believed in, no matter the cost. It was a testament to the power of compassion, courage, and the unwavering will to protect the weak and the downtrodden. In the end, the legacy of the Human-Xenos Alliance was one of hope, resilience, and the transformative power of a single decisive act of kindness. It was a story that would be told and retold for generations to come, a shining example of the best that humanity and its alien allies could achieve when they stood united against the forces of oppression and injustice.